Justin Bieber didn't just cut ties with his manager, he cut off the man who discovered him, raised him, and fought every battle beside him. And it wasn't over betrayal, fame, or a messy scandal, it was over millions. But here's what no one expected. When Bieber accused Scooter Braun of stealing from him, the audit proved the opposite. Justin owed him, not a few bucks. We're talking $45 million, fronted by a man he once called family. This wasn't just a business feud. It was the collapse of a brotherhood. A relationship that started with dreams and ended in lawyers, lawsuits, and cold silence. But behind all the headlines, something changed. A billion-dollar beauty brand, a $200 million catalog deal, and a comeback album titled SWAG, packed with track names like Forgiveness and Memo, leaving fans wondering, is Bieber finally telling the truth? Or is this just damage control for the downfall of one of music's most iconic partnerships? Let's break down the entire story, from secret audits and canceled tours to the surprising moment Scooter Braun walked away from $8 million, just to end the fight. Before the lawsuits, before the money wars, there was trust. When Justin Bieber was just 13, Scooter Braun saw something no one else did. He took a Canadian kid busking on YouTube and turned him into a global phenomenon. Scooter wasn't just his manager, he was like a second father. They weren't business partners, they were family. For over a decade, Scooter guided every major decision in Justin's career, through fame, controversy, even personal meltdowns. He protected him, defended him, paid for him. But behind that picture-perfect bond, something darker was growing. As Bieber matured, he began to question the numbers. Where was all the money going? Who was profiting the most? And why did it feel like his own empire wasn't really under his control? Whispers started. Rumors that Scooter had taken too much, that commissions were inflated, that the loyalty Justin gave wasn't being returned. The stage was set for a collapse no one thought possible. And the moment the accountants got involved, everything changed. But what they found in the audit flipped the entire narrative upside down. When Justin ordered a full audit of his finances, he was expecting confirmation of what he'd heard for years, that Scooter Braun had quietly pocketed tens of millions in inflated commissions. Instead, the truth hit like a slap in the face. The numbers didn't show Scooter taking extra money. They showed Justin underpaying him. According to the audit, it wasn't Scooter who owed Justin. It was the other way around. Justin had overestimated how much he paid, and in reality, he was short by $8 million in commissions. But here's the craziest part. Scooter didn't even want it. Despite the rocky relationship, despite the public tension, Scooter waived the entire amount. No legal threats, no countersuit, no hardball negotiation. He walked away from $8 million like it was nothing. Some say it was maturity, others think it was guilt. But whatever the reason, it wasn't the end. Because while Justin thought that settled the score, there were two much bigger debts looming in the background. And the next one wasn't just a commission check, it was a $26 million rescue mission that almost nobody knew about. In 2017, when Justin abruptly canceled the remainder of his Purpose World Tour, fans were confused. But the promoters were furious, especially AEG, one of the biggest concert companies in the world, because Bieber had already pocketed the advance. That cancellation came with a price tag, $26 million. And guess who stepped in to clean up the mess? Scooter Braun, not as a manager, not as a partner, but as the guy who couldn't let Justin's brand burn to the ground. Scooter paid the $26 million out of his own pocket to settle things with AEG. No public statement, no victory lap. Just another move to keep Bieber's empire afloat, even as their personal relationship began to crumble. But that wasn't all. Scooter also claimed Justin owed him an additional $11 million in unpaid back commissions, money that had piled up quietly over years. So now the scoreboard read, $8 million in waived commissions, $26 million for the canceled tour, $11 million still outstanding. And yet, despite that mountain of debt, the two hadn't spoken directly in years. The battle was being fought in silence, through lawyers, spreadsheets, and resentment. But then something unexpected happened. A documentary hit YouTube, and everything started to change. For years, the money fight stayed hidden. There were whispers in the industry, tension behind the scenes. But to the public, it was all quiet. Until TMZ dropped a bombshell, their investigative documentary, What happened to Justin Bieber didn't just lay out the numbers, it revealed the personal collapse behind the financial war, the surrogate father, the betrayal, the silence, and once it aired, things started moving fast. Insiders say the documentary forced both sides back to the table. No more ghosting, no more dragging it out. Suddenly, lawyers were having real conversations. Settlement drafts started circulating. Because now the world knew, and the truth was messy. Justin had believed Scooter robbed him. Scooter had believed Justin turned on him. And in the middle of it all was a $45 million standoff with no end in sight. But pressure makes people move. And after years of tension, they finally agreed to a deal. Justin would pay back the $26 million Scooter fronted for AEG. He would also pay half of the remaining $11 million in unpaid commissions. It wasn't a full win for either side, but it was a truce. Still, one question lingered. How did Justin suddenly have the cash to pay off one of the biggest personal debts in pop history? For a while, Justin Bieber looked like he was drowning. Lavish spending, legal bills, canceled tours. It all added up. And insiders claimed he had burned through a shocking portion of his fortune. So, when news broke that he was agreeing to pay back tens of millions, everyone had the same question: where did the money come from? Enter Hailey Bieber. Her skincare brand, Rhode, had quietly become a powerhouse. And when it reportedly sold for nearly $1 billion, Hailey didn't just cash out, she scored a massive personal payout. Combine that with Justin's own major move, selling the rights to his music catalog for $200 million, and suddenly, the money was there. What looked like a financial collapse became a comeback, just in time to clean the slate and settle the debt. But that wasn't the whole story. Sources close to Justin say part of the problem wasn't just financial, it was emotional manipulation. For years, people in his circle were allegedly telling him Scooter had taken advantage of him, twisting the numbers and planting doubts. Some of it wasn't true, and by the time Justin realized it, the damage had already been done. Now the money was paid, but could the damage to their relationship ever be undone? The money might be settled, but this wasn't just about checks and balances. This was about trust, broken in ways that don't get fixed with a wire transfer. Justin and Scooter haven't spoken publicly about each other in years. And behind the scenes, sources say their relationship is still frozen. No calls, no meetups, no signs of reconciliation. For a connection that once felt like family, the silence says everything. Scooter may have gotten his money back, well, most of it, but he lost something bigger: the artist he discovered, raised and protected for over a decade. And for Justin, paying back the debt didn't erase the years of anger, confusion, or betrayal he felt, even if some of it was misinformed. Will they ever repair what they had? Some say time heals all wounds. Others say this one cut too deep. But while the personal bond remains broken, Justin is finally moving forward and making sure the world knows it. After all the chaos, legal battles, canceled tours, financial rumors, Justin Bieber is doing what he does best: reclaiming the spotlight. His new album, titled SWAG, is more than just a comeback. It's a statement. Track names like Forgiveness, Memo, Voice, and Glory feel anything but random. They read like chapters of a diary. And the final track? Forgiveness, sitting at the very end of the album, as if closing the book on everything that came before it. Some fans believe the entire project is a coded letter to Scooter. Others say it's Justin finally owning his side of the story, financially, emotionally, and musically. And while the album itself might not spell out what happened behind closed doors, the timing says enough. Right after the settlement, right after the world learned the truth, right after he paid it all back. But this isn't just about setting the record straight. Industry insiders say Justin is gearing up for a full-scale return and possibly a tour to match. If true, this could be the biggest rebrand of his career. Not just a new sound, but a new identity. No longer the boy Scooter built, but the man Bieber became without him. In the end, both men walked away with what they wanted. Scooter got paid, Justin got free. But what they lost can't be measured in dollars. Scooter Braun may have won the settlement, but he lost the artist who defined his career. He stepped away from millions, covered debts, and still ended up on the outside of Bieber's new chapter. Justin, on the other hand, may have spent a fortune fixing the damage, both financial and emotional. But what he gained was something deeper: control of his music. his money, his message. And now, with a comeback album that feels like a final word on the drama, Bieber isn't just reclaiming his fame, he's rewriting the legacy. Not as the kid who was discovered, but as the man who walked away from the machine that built him. So, who really won? That depends on what you value more, money or freedom.